Gardens here. So welcome back to the Hunger Signal 21-day challenge, and today I'm gonna outline days 6 and 7 for you. So we're on February 6th, so it's today the 6th and tomorrow is the 7th. So quickly, I don't want to ramble on too much, so let's get on to the actual topic. So day 6. So today your task is to be aware, as much as possible, um, what you are doing in the moment. So set minimum of 5 reminders. So on the phone, reminders are great, or if you don't like the electronics, you can put post-it notes everywhere around the house, where you kind of go from time to time, some in the kitchen, some in the bathroom, things like that. So at random times of the day, you'll remind yourself, are you paying attention to what you're doing? So yeah, so when the reminder pops up on your phone, just check with yourselves. Are you actually paying attention to whatever you're doing at that moment? It doesn't have to be eating, but just anything you do, are you paying attention? Because it's so easy to because that's where the habit comes in, right? If you're not paying attention to what you're doing, you will habitually do whatever you always do. So for me, for example, that's the same thing. If I take away my attention from eating, I just shovel it in so quickly. But if I am actually paying attention to the texture, the smell, the look of the food, if savoring a bite, then I can't be so habitually shoveling it in, because it takes time to be curious and to be mindful. So yeah, so today's game of the day is to be mindful of everything you do as much as possible, and you're probably gonna go into your automatic behavior, and that's fine, but those 5 reminders will be helpful reminders for you to be mindful and be in the present, be mindful of what you're doing in the moment. And the more you do this, the better you'll get at it. And when you're eating today, try and be paying attention to your food, but also be curious, examine it, and take your time with it. So day 7 is more mindfulness again. However, tomorrow, it's more to do with eating. Try and do your own mindful eating experiment, either with the raisin or another thing that you like eating. So the raisin experiment, just briefly, if you've never heard of it, is to basically take a single raisin onto your palm and pretend that you don't know what it is, right? So that you examine it as if for first time in your life, and you're trying to determine, and you're curious about what it actually is. So you look at every side of it, you squish it, you smell it perhaps, you see all the different rivets, you take your finger, you press with it and see, maybe you can put it against the light to see if it's translucent, things like that. So examine anything. You could do it with a walnut, piece of banana, or anything like that, anything, a simple food, nothing with too many ingredients, right? Something like a single food, a nut or a piece of fruit or something like that, okay? But raisin is just perfect because it's so interesting. It's got all these different wrinkles and ridges, and you can squish it. It's, yeah, raisin experiment is a raisin experiment for a reason, right? So I think I'll do the same with the raisin. But any kind of food you have to hand or want to do with, you could do with. So pretend that you don't know what that is, and be curious and examine it, experiment with it. So once you kind of externally, you know, examined it thoroughly, right? Then the next thing to do is you could also listen to it. Funny, right? The author of the Judd Brewer, Dr. Judd Brewer, is saying it actually even has sound. So if you squish it between your fingers, it makes some noises. The raisin. But anyway, so yeah, so you can listen depending what it is. You know, it might have or might not have any sound. And then once you've done all the external examinations, then you can carefully, you know, try and, you know, take it up to your mouth and you know, feel what it feels, because you kind of know what it's going to taste like already, most likely. You'll feel your mouth, you know, starting to salivate, right, when you're nearing that, you know, putting the raisin onto your tongue. Even now, me talking about it, I can feel the saliva starting to gather a bit. It's a similar thing as, you know, think of putting a slice of lemon into your mouth and chewing it. You kind of automatically get some saliva flushing in there because you know what it's going to taste like. And it's going to have that like sour tense sensation. But yeah, so then carefully place that, you know, whatever food you're eating on your tongue, and don't bite it or swallow it yet. Press it with your tongue, examine it, you know, turn it around. So just kind of try and feel it with your tongue, and then finally take a little bite of that raisin and chew carefully until you finally kind of chew the rest of it, and you know, and taste for all the flavor sensations, different flavors coming through, and then, you know, gently swallow once you chewed enough, right? So make it as long as possible to gather as much information about that piece of fruit or a piece of nut or that raisin, as long as possible, and as many things as possible. Try to be as curious, and investigative as possible, right? So yeah, so that's for day 7. Do your own mindful eating experiment, whether with a raisin or a different piece of fruit or a nut or anything else, kind of simple food. And yeah, let me know down below what you thought of it. If you've done day 6 activities, noticing if you're present, if you're aware, and then day 7, mindfully eating some kind of food, and see what it feels, what true curiosity and mindful eating looks like. And yes, I'm not saying you're going to have to eat every food like that, you know, examining as if for the first time. However, that will give you an idea of, you know, what true mindful eating can be, you know, that you're curious, you're kind of paying attention to all the textures, the flavors, the smell, you know, the texture. Yeah, so do that and let me know down below what are your thoughts. How did the mindful eating experiment go for you? And then, guys, I'll see you next time for day 8. So, have a good day.